Carol Vorderman can pinpoint the moment she went from countdown queen to counting the ways to get the Tories out of government. For months her blood had been boiling about the PPE VIP lane scandal, contracts for billions of pounds of personal protective equipment awarded to Tory associates, some of which was defective. I was getting more and more angry about the VIP lane contracts, the Mirror's Pride of Britain host says now. I'm fascinated by numbers, and I kept looking at them, trying to piece together the jigsaw. It was just so obviously wrong. It was bad enough about the partying, but this was even worse. I'd covered stories on Welsh telly during the first lockdown, talking to all these incredible people helping people. Amazing dinner ladies, kids with 3D printers printing PPE for doctors to wear. We'd made my online maths platform free to 500,000 homeschooling children. It felt like everyone was doing their bit. So to learn at the same time these people were profiteering. Well, what is the definition of corruption if it isn't that? The final straw, Vorderman says, was seeing the name of conservative peer and lingerie company millionaire Michelle Mone linked to the PPE scandal in November 2022. This was someone I knew. We had been on a BBC program together. We sometimes stayed in the same hotel when we worked in London. It was someone I actually knew who was doing this. Livid, she tweeted. Lady Mone broke Lord's code and was seemingly involved in fraud, while nurses and doctors slaved all hours to save people in the first lockdown. She denied any involvement, but her husband got £65 million profit and she £29 million. If so, slam them in jail where they belong. The woman who had spent over a quarter of a century crunching the numbers on Countdown had begun checking the government's homework. I realized I had all the skills, she says. I'm excited by numerical detail. I've run a couple of companies. I've been 40 years in business, 42 years in telly. I know how the media works. In her new book, she puts it another way. I'm a woman in my mid-60s, post-menopause. I'm not part of the Westminster bubble and I don't live anywhere near London. I laugh too loudly. I'm very stubborn. I loathe bullies. I'm bloody good at parties. And I don't give a flying if what people I don't respect think about me. Within 3 months, the Glasgow Herald had declared her the real leader of the opposition. Campaigning journalist Carol Cadwallader commended her speaking truth to power from ITV's Soft Furnishings. Rapper Darren McGarvey wrote, "Welcome to Britain, where the only thing standing between us and corporate tyranny is Carol Vorderman." Choosing to speak her mind on politics quickly cost Vorderman her job at the BBC, even while Who Edwards was kept on before being eventually sacked, which she says is blatant sexism. It has lost and won her friends, and led to weekly radio show on LBC. Most influentially, it led to the online project Stop the Tories. Vote, which unleashed tactical voting during the general election, helping towards the catastrophic loss of conservative seats. I discovered that like causing trouble online, she says, laughing. In the run-up to the election, she says she was spending 7 or 8 hours a day crunching numbers, investigating wrongdoing and looking at election spreadsheets, powered by endless Tory scandals. But ultimately, it's just me and this, she says, holding up her mobile and smiling mischievously. An old bird with an iPhone. This week, Vorderman publishes a book about her political epiphany, one which calls on us all to join her in taking on the establishment. She says Now What is a book for good, kind people who want society to fairer and who want to feel safe and cared for again. Part diary, part political manifesto, the book catalogues her years in the trenches as a keyboard warrior, battling to undercover Tory corruption. Throughout, the endless scandal, the liar, the lettuce, and the millionaire, as she sums up this period of government, is lightened by her trademark asides. In one diary entry, after appearing on ITV talking about her relationships as a single woman with special friends, she tells us tantalizingly that when she came off air, she received an admiring message from none other than Michael Gove. Whether the former Secretary of State was hoping to level up, she won't tell. I can't repeat it here, she writes in the book, but I thought knowing about it would make you laugh out loud. Heck. Vorderman talks throughout the book about how politics affects everything. As a child, her life was saved by the politics of Nye Bevan and his belief in a national health service when she suffered a twisted bowel. But she talks about how the state helped with free school meals and a full maintenance grant when she went to Cambridge, and the chance for her generation to own a council house. Things that have become harder or impossible to access for later generations. And she talks throughout about kindness, whether it was the old ladies leaving leftover cakes on the wall for her family, or the staff at Viesgold Mare in Prestaden, where for a while my mum Patricia taught her and recognized her flair for maths, a family claim to fame. When I applied to do engineering at Cambridge, I was from somewhere no one had ever heard of, somewhere no girls had ever gone to Oxbridge from, and certainly no one on free school meals, she says. I couldn't even do the Oxbridge exam. But they gave me a chance. She wanted to study engineering as it seemed the best path to becoming an astronaut or a fighter pilot, her two main career ambitions. But her brilliant mum had other ideas. After hearing Yorkshire Television were looking for someone to do the numbers game on a new show called Countdown, and knowing her daughter's exceptional ability with mental arithmetic, Mum wrote the letter to the producer and forged my signature. She told a rapt Edinburgh Festival audience at the annual Alternative MacTaggart lecture this August. So that's how much I wanted to be on television. She talks in the book about being twice very seriously stalked and of the daily onslaught of vile abuse. But she shrugs when I ask about it. Everyone gets trolled, she says. I'm sure even the Queen got trolled, and they are rabid at the moment because they are annoyed they lost. It doesn't touch me. Maybe that's 40 years of being on screen. So to ask her own question, now what? Next on my agenda is tackling acts of extreme misogyny. Vorderman says, is she coming for Andrew Tate? She makes a face. What he spews out is boring, predictable, and pathetic, she says. I want to bring together lots of amazing women to do something about it, she says. Too many women apologize for having a political opinion because society has told them that their opinion doesn't matter. At the Mirror, Vorderman is best known as the face of Pride of Britain, which this year marks its 25th year. The veteran host has been at the helm of every single program. And perhaps despite spending 2 years uncovering the worst of human nature, this has helped her keep her deep faith in people. I do believe the vast majority of people are good people, she says. The idea that they aren't is a classic right-wing playbook. And then she says something she says that sums up the book. What I hated was this idea that they will always get away with it. Why will they always get away with it? We can change that if we stick together. As Vorderman sees it, an older woman gets her power when she truly doesn't care what others think of her anymore. Hell have no fury like a Welsh woman who has decided she has nothing to lose.